Hello, we're in East Hampton, Massachusetts, and we're in a cemetery. It's a post-ethnic group cemetery that initially belonged to the Sacred Heart of Jesus Church in East Hampton, and that was its original name of the cemetery. It was called the Sacred Heart Cemetery. But only a few years after its birth, it changed name to St. Stanislaus Bishop and Martyr Cemetery, and its birth was being in October 1923, and it's now the year 2024, and I'm going to celebrate it by a tour through this cemetery because it'll be a 100th anniversary um, this spring, 100 plus 6 months. So we have behind us a chapel, and the chapel was put in here a little after, and you can see that it has Jesus in the middle. And this is a good place to have a final prayer and then have the burial go on. Now, I'm going to talk about what's around the cemetery, and we're going to have a lot of places when we go on a physical tour, but today I'll give you 3 different videos, and I hope you watch them all to get a sense of what this cemetery is about. Now, I'm going to show you sections. To the side is a priest section, and the founder is not buried here. The founder is actually buried in the other Catholic cemetery of East Hampton. And the reason why is because this cemetery wasn't ready, whereas there was a predecessor church and predecessor cemetery, St. Bridget's Cemetery, which holds the old Polish burials before 1923. And there's 2 priests there, and we'll talk about them later. And there's also a space for the superintendent of the cemetery. He was here for 50 years, and we'll talk about them. Now, we'll spin around the cemetery, and you'll see 2 quadrants back here with some of the more modern burials. But right across from us is a stone here, a lonely-looking stone. And this is one of the older stones around the cemetery. And if you look at it, John Cull died in 1925, so he died 2 years after the cemetery started. So this is one of the very oldest stones, maybe the oldest of all. I'm pretty sure the 1923 barrels, I couldn't find any stone at all. 1924, I'm not sure I found one yet. So this is one of the very oldest. And it's in the family section, which is always very nice. And this whole front that we're looking at now is the very old section. And this is where you'll find a lot of really old stones. There's a white one and there's a marble one back there. Usually the old ones have very small cross on the top. You notice this one has small cross on the top. So we're going to keep spinning around. We spun around now 180 degrees. What we'll do is back look at the other direction of the chapel. All right, and the first thing you notice on this side is it's also very old. Is a beautiful statue-based gravestone right over there, and some larger plots with memorials on top of them. And so this is also an old section. Anything outside of these 2 sections are probably more modern. Now, one thing you'll probably notice right away when you look towards the east, you get a great view of the back of Mount Tom. Mount Tom, and this side is a cliff, and it's then after the cliff it becomes very graceful coming down, but you got a great view of Mount Tom from the back of this gorgeous cemetery. Also, there's the modern burials, and they have a lot of space behind that, and then they have a lot of space off to the sides. So there's more space in this cemetery than may seem. Even after 100 years, they could probably still go for another 100 years. They own some of the land on all sides, and they take down some of the trees and get much more space along the way. So what we're going to do is do a 360 panoramic around the cemetery. And thank you very much.